we're talking about starting small. I'm the smallest here. So you started with big people. And yeah, I'm a program TV. A lot has been said, and I don't want to belabor what they've said. By the way, first when we started small, it was called Rand Consolidated Investments in 1976. It started with 10,000 rands. It's now with 200 billion rand plus market cap. That's for context. Molweni, Dumelang, Abshin, Sambulani, Kuyamora, good morning. I must declare first who I am so that you understand my tonality. I work for the Afrikaners. I work for an education group that is owned by PSG. It's 58% owned by PSG, and it's called the Pure Holdings. 66% of our clients, learners, are black. Just for context. I believe I'm still a journalist. I'm not a former journalist. Nothing like that. I was trained in the school of Sibonelo Khatebe. I looked up to him when I was here at Metz. After the turn of the millennium, I'm reading the financial mail in PE. So I became a PE writer. I was edited by one of your founders here that day Hollywood. He used to publish my columns. Now, you'll understand that I'm a very young man, and what I'm about to deliver is very modern. I'll start with Christian values first. I'm a Methodist by training, and I believe in the Protestant ethic.
Where's your Portuguese?
Yes. Believe in the Protestant ethic because it has certain values that keep you in check. And the Afrikaners were able to advance to where they are today because of the Protestant ethic. Through the Dutch Reformed Church and the NK Kerk, you do not steal from another brother. You know, you help another brother. It's Protestant ethic. On the tone of Christianity, I must start by saying, out of nothing, nothing comes. Now, for those who have never studied social science, what I mean here is that whatever we have today is a result of something. It simply means that we cannot have today without the work of the past. In this setup, what I'm trying to say is that Kenya Cooperative Bank, I'm already calling it a bank because I told my daughter when I left Devonville that it is a bank. I'm going to a launch of a bank. KCB is not born out of the blue, but it is born because of a certain context. It also means that what the alumni of Kenya College and many other investors in this venture are trying to achieve is not new. Many have tried, and many have failed. Having said that, KCB comes at a very critical point in our history. Almost 60 years ago, educated natives like ourselves had crafted a framework that would result in a black-owned and managed deposit-taking institution. Got the framework, it's here. I found it in the archives. I'll give it to you. I thought I'd restrict it until I enlist a man waiting for a long project that I've been working on. In 1957, the directors of African Horizon Insurance Company, who among others included Professor Z.K. Matthews, Silas Mulema, Dr. Alfred Bati, had presented a confidential memo to their fellows. Confidential. In this memo, the African Horizon Insurance Company had noted, among other things, the urgent need of the African population in the Union of South Africa to establish among themselves a deposit receiving institution catering for the needs specific to Black Africans. Now, I believe that this is a critical matter that KCB is trying to resolve, and perhaps we feel the plans that were crafted by our forefathers. Now, I want to quote from this memo, which I think will assist in crafting your vision statement. And I quote, see, it was circulated in 1957. And I quote, at present time, Africans who have any funds to put aside for the proverbial rainy day deposit such funds either in the Post Office Savings Bank or the Savings Department of Building Societies of the ordinary commercial banks. Although the amounts which individuals are able to deposit in these institutions are necessarily small, having regard to the limited economic opportunities of the African population, in the aggregate, they represent considerable sums of money. In the Post Office Savings Bank alone, it is estimated that African deposits run between 16 and 20 million pounds. This is 1957. Before the commercial banks and other deposit receiving institutions do not carry such large African deposits. The chief reason being that the post office having branches practically in all parts of the country, both rural and urban, is able to offer its depositors services which the other institutions are not in a position to compete. In all these institutions, the principal advantage that accrues to the African deposit is that the money he has invested in this way, in addition to being in safe custody, earns little interest, but the interest is very small of nature, ranging from 2 to 3%. Still the same. In return for the sum of money deposited by Africans, these institutions do not render any other service to the African, except that of the safe custody of his money plus a small rate of interest. The African farmer or businessman who wants credit facilities, or the professional man who wants to build his own home, finds that there is no friendly financial institution to which he can turn for assistance. It may be argued that the number of Africans who require such facilities is not large, but it is submitted that the number of Africans who need such facilities is already substantial, with the steady general improvement in the economic position of the African. The number will increase. In order to meet this need, it is suggested that what is required is the establishment of an institution which will have two objectives in view: to encourage Africans to deposit their savings in this institution with prospects of more remunerative rates or interest than is paid by the post office, savings banks, or other commercial banks; to provide credit facilities on a security basis for Africans, to enable them to acquire property or improve their homes, and generally to improve their standard of living. Let me close quote and leave it here. Now, these guys were operating in a context where they had to apply to the Minister of Native Affairs before they would open up anything. Today, there's no Minister of Native Affairs. I think in 1957, if I recall well, the Minister of Native Affairs was in that period. Now, I want to take you back because 2016 and 2017 are very critical in our history. So whatever dates I mentioned here, you will see a 6 and a 7. So I spoke about 1957. In 1877, almost 130 years ago, black people in South Africa had formed a benefit society called Ibandla Letopia. One of the members of its executive committee and auditors was the highly respected Isaac Williams Washop, also known as Joba. He was part of the people who were part of the native corps that fought in the First World War. Now, in September 1877, Ibandla Letopia had about 409 pounds in the bank. 1877. The society, which operated out of Port Elizabeth, had at some point 100 members. However, one of its challenges that its executive committee had to deal with was to find new members, as some had ceased their membership. Of course, people will organize meetings and people don't teach. And the institution becomes unsustainable. Now, the challenge here is that these critical savings that I mentioned historically set in someone's bank do not sit in an African native bank. Even today, it's still the same. In 1922, Reverend Mbange of the Congregational Church started the Penny Savings and Investment Society in Johannesburg. The funds were used to make loans at reasonable interest rates. Again, 1975, NAFCO starts African Bank. Raymond Sonyane leading that process. It took them 10 years to raise R1 million. This thing had started in 1964 in discussions at NAFCO, but finally crystallized in 1975 just to raise R1 million. When African Bank was started, Morris, it was a savings and lending institution. It was not just a lender. But we know 20 years later, about 1995, it encountered funding problems. It operated under curatorship. I must say there was also lack of professionalism, even back then. I won't mention the individuals who were running it. People who are praised for work in Wall Street and so on. But they ran down the bank. Ultimately, black people lost ownership of the bank after some failed attempts to try and get the democratic government to bail it out. How ironic is that? In 1995, the newly elected government fails to bail out this thing. In 2014, it bails out largely white shareholders. It's just interesting how we figure South Africa. As African Bank had been started in 1975, Ubank, previously known as DEBA, had also conducted its first transaction. It began as a savings fund in 1975, aimed at providing neglected mine workers in the gold and platinum belts with basic financial services. People like that, James Mutlatz led that process. What is strange is that first started in 1976. African Bank was there in 1976. Ubank was there in 1975. But we've got nothing to show. Of course, there was a historical context to that, but I think black people are to blame also. Many others followed. Fabcos, they started a joint venture with West Bank. They were financing taxes. It was called Future Bank. There was Meek Bank, it was the Bank of Transkei, led by Professor Wiseman Bushu. It was captured by ABSA. I thought you would not be here, but it's in the notes. People like Angela Mazwai started Mazwai Securities. They were captured by Fesa. And we've also heard about VBS. Now, this historical context does not seek to mock the efforts of KCB to say that what we are doing is not new. It's not what I'm saying. But, I think we can draw lessons from these events. What we learned from the history of black participation in South Africa's financial services sector is that although KCB may not be the first black-owned bank, it has a chance to be the first sustainable one. You must be careful of that term, first black. It's very dangerous. It creates certain narratives amongst white people that blacks only started doing things post-1994. First black person to sell BMWs, that narrative that people were selling these things back in the day. Now the question is, how will KCB be sustainable? It requires serious collaboration among black Africans. When you look at how Volkskas was started, how Sanlam was started, I dare to venture and say it requires what Africans had at the turn of the 19th century called Imbumba Yamanya as a response to the good of God. It's called Imbumba. I think we need our own. We need our own. But having said that, it does not mean KCB must be anti or against existing banks. I think we can learn from them. But the critical point here is that it starts here. I dare everybody here to channel a portion of their savings to KCB. You all have money. Even if you have an overdraft, you can still channel it. Because that's how you will raise money. I dare everyone to do that. We need to learn from the guys that have started this successful and sustainable banks here. It also means black professionals with a lot of experience, Morris, will have to help in this regard. It means black people must not compete with each other. As a director there in Midrand, you are not competing with KCB. We are here to help. And I'll make an example of this. GT Ferreira was one of the founders of FESRA. He invested in PSG when they wanted to start capital. Think about it. He's highly invested in FESRA, but he says, I'm going to give the mutants money to start a bank. Think about it. You can go to other financial services companies. FESRA guys give Adrian Paul money to compete with them. I think Momentum Health was already there, but he gives them money, him and Barry Schwartzberg. So when if there are black bankers here, there's no conflict of interest. We're not dealing with Basel yet in this instance. But as I conclude, KCB must be different also. Can't just be called black because it's got black directors. If you are aping the same things that the existing banks are doing, then forget. You're not going to win. You close down. It must not just be black, it has to understand, as these guys say, the deep financial needs and conditions of many black people. And I must say, even the existing banks do not understand those needs. KCB must talk to the historical plan of the likes of ZK Beatrice in 1957. It has to understand things such as lending to people who have assets but no title deeds. See, there's a lot of hypocrisy in the current banking system. Can't get a home loan because you do not have title. That's nonsense. Banks fund farmers farming on another person's land. I mean, how did Inkos get a bond? There's an opportunity there. It means it can be done, but people are just racist because it's black people can't risk capital. Yeah, they do it. I mean, another example, miners. Zara does not own the land. It's government owned. But they advance long-term debt there. Billions. Why can't you do it on untitled land? It's because of black. KZP will have to be prepared to promote financial inclusion in a manner that is not divorced from the way many black people live, especially in rural areas. Now, when I buried my grandfather last year, I arrived from Johannesburg on a Wednesday. We went to the village. We arrived to try and clean the stuff. He had died in 2 days, and people had heard in the community. I saw 2 gogos coming to me, and they removed something from the breast. I said, what's this one? Cash, over 10,000. No issues around, can you send a death certificate? Because these people know their clients. Because I'm a financial writer, so I got interested. Now, how do you deal with lapses? We pay for each other. There's no way we are going to, we will not bury you because you have lapsed. That word does not exist. That language at KCB must not exist. It must recognize that the wealth of many black people is in the form of livestock, and KCB must help communities leverage off those assets that continue to be largely underdeveloped. Someone is sitting with 20 cattle, on average, when it's not less than 10,000 rands. You can see this person is sitting with 200,000, but you refuse more or less to advance. Why? And yet you lend me, who's got a massive overdraft, no assets, proletariat, highly paid proletariat. No assets. The bank will have to offer a broader set of savings products and not oversell funeral cover to the black communities. Black people want to save too, and they crave those products that have gone to terms. They also want to know about equity and bond markets. You don't want to be restricted to a 32-day account. Want their money to grow. This is massive crooked. You give someone your bank, your return is 2% bonus. Well, not you guys, the others. Because you guys have a bond interest rate. When you give a bank your money, it sits on the liability side of the balance sheet because they owe you. Interest 2 to 3%. When you borrow from them, 15%. I mean, even the nonsense of 10% crime, the gap there between the returns on the savings versus the interest earned on loans advanced is just problematic. And I think KCB might want to look at those things. And I dare to say that KCB must never be anti-white. Not because I work for the state of Mafia. KCB must never be anti-white. If there is a white banker who understands credit and deposit taking, he or she must be allowed to assist. Skills must be mobilized non-racially so. First Rand could hire the legendary Sizwe Nasana to add value that has never been seen in the history of First Rand. Why can't KCB do it? Standard Bank can hire Sim. Why can't we do it? I'm not saying lose control, but I'm saying do not, this pseudo-revolution that is happening. Nonsensical, decolonized, when it essentially means God bless Africa. It was started from Christianity, which we inherited the colonial form by so let us disabuse ourselves from the. When you're African, pro-African does not mean you're anti-white. And I think KCB must not sell out. Mr. Maswai. If you start this thing, you must not exit to white people. I know Mr. Maswai did it. Because in the investment world, you now have a benefit, the person to sit in expo and see these things. In the investment world, you do not fall in love with an asset. It's not your fault, it's not your life. If you fall in love with that asset, you will lose money. Unlock value when you think it's time to run. But I must say, do not, I'm saying fall in love with it. Nurture it to an extent that it must grow. You don't have to hold on 50 plus 1. I mean, you could stay at 10% as a group, as long as there are black controls. And you'll be shocked how much Adrian Bo owns of Discover. Owns 10% or 9%. Other portion is owned by other people. So it must never sell out because this is too rich a business